Garrett. Start again.
Okay, second Vice Chair Dave Lyon.
Present.
Vice Chair Debbie Ann Rippey.
Present.
And Chairman Tom Mattis.
Present. With roll call complete, we'll take a look at the minutes for approval that were sent out, corrections made. But Dave, Debbie, did you get a chance to take a look at those?
I looked at those and I thought they were fine, so I would make a motion that we accept the minutes as presented.
I've seen the minutes as well, and I second that motion.
So there's been a motion that we accept the regular minutes from the previous date of January 9th, 2025. Yes?
All those, the chair will call for a vote of the commission. All those in favor say aye.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Appears the motion carries. Next order of business, taking a look at our agenda, is Public Art Project, Power Box Mural, which is an action item. Garrett, care to explain?
Yeah, I got some info for you on that. At the last meeting, it was mentioned that the commission would like to start working on public art projects. I think murals were also mentioned, so I reached out to our Parks and Facilities Department to see if there were any locations that a mural could go on. So I was taking around, looked at various locations, and this was also included on there, this power box that is behind City Hall along the Greenbelt and along Indian Creek. It measures approximately like 51 inches tall, 33 inches wide. It's metal. And I decided to choose this, as a possible option for the commission because it is sort of reminiscent of the traffic boxes that other cities have, if you've seen those, like in Boise and Meridian and things like that. But also I felt that it was still small enough while not being so tiny for our project that, we could, if the commission chooses, try this as a mural location, and then if, work out any kinks, and if they like to continue it as a project, there are other locations that more murals could go on. But yeah, it has 4 sides and also has a top that could be painted. If you can see in the picture, there's a lot of green space behind it where people bring their dogs to, people play disc golf in that area, events also take place in that space as well. Again, it's on the green belt, so lots of people walking past on a daily basis, especially during the summertime. And again, it's just sort of the green belt width away from Indian Creek, so really a beautiful location as well. And that's the box there in the packet. And Garrett has some information for you as well.
So the clerk's office prepared a art and area analysis. That's the packet, which has been provided in front of you and will be attached to the minutes as it wasn't included in this packet. I just wanted to bring up a few points of note for this. On the first page here, you'll note that there were approximately 327,300 visits to the Greenbelt between January 1st, 2023 and April 6th, 2025. Of those visits, there were approximately 77,600 unique visitors to the Greenbelt. The average visit frequency is about 4.21. during that period of time. So, but the average visitor visited 4.21 times during those couple of year or during that period of time. The average dwell time, which means the average amount of time a person spent on the Greenbelt, was 47 minutes. In regard to year-over-year visits to the site, or in and around that site, it saw an increase of 19.9%, so about 20% increase in the amount of people visiting the Greenbelt from January 1st of this year to January 1st of this year to April 6th of this year from last year. So we've seen about a 20% increase in the amount of people visiting the Greenbelt. During that time as well, the average dwell time of 47 minutes, I think really shows and demonstrates that this art piece is definitely something which people may stop by and see. It's not as though they're running past and through the Greenbelt without taking note of their surroundings. So this is something which definitely can be enjoyed by the community. People are walking through the Greenbelt. They're not driving through at incredibly high speeds or, something like that. So looking at page 2 of the visit trends on this packet, on the kind of right-hand side, you'll see a smaller box here, graph here. 2022 saw 158.2 thousand visitors to the Greenbelt. 2023 saw 161.8 thousand visitors. 2024 saw 143.1 thousand visitors. And so we do see a small decrease in 2024, but regardless of the reasons for the reduction in visits for 2024, in 2025, now we're seeing an increase in the amount of people who are actually using the site. So between last year and this year, last year, January 1st to April 6th saw 19.1 thousand visitors. This year, January 1st to April 6th, we're seeing 22.3 thousand visitors. On page 3, you can see the true trade area. This is an approximation of where people are coming from. Once again, this is not personal data, but this is approximately where people are coming from. You'll note that while the vast majority of people in the heat map, that's that red, are coming from Kuna, there are people coming from way outside of Kuna in the general Treasure Valley area. So by installing an art piece here, there are plenty of people coming from in and around the area, not just Kuna, who are going to be able to see this art piece. Page 4 of the packet, you'll see the median age is about 31.9, 32 years old. With a household income of 77.4 thousand, this is pretty typical or pretty average of the standard Kuna resident, and so there's no special demographics which the Greenbelt is catering to. This is just the general or standard Kunaite or Kunian who's visiting the Greenbelt, and so taking into consideration, I don't know if there's any demographic or we don't need to specialize in this or make a special art piece to gear towards a specific demographic. It just seems like it's a standard Kuna member or person from Kuna who's coming to the Greenbelt to be there. Page 5. People who are visiting the Greenbelt are also visiting the Meridian Crossroads. That's that Market Street Albertsons Plaza near the Village at Meridian. They're also visiting the Village at Meridian, Boise Town Square Mall, and the Boise Spectrum Center, which is where the Boise Edwards Cinema is at. Why is that important? It just kind of shows you what people are doing. It's to provide additional context about what people are doing when they're visiting the Greenbelt. They're also going out shopping, enjoying their lives. And so this is just to give you an additional context about why it might be important to and how this art piece may impact people. Following page 6, shows you the typical person's visitor journey. So it looks like about 43.1% of people are coming from their home, going to the Greenbelt, and then about 47.5% of people are going back home. So we're seeing a Greenbelt home trend. We're not seeing like a work Greenbelt home trend or a something else. A lot of people also seem to be coming from Bernie Fisher Park and then heading back to Bernie Fisher Park or going home. Page 7. Most people are using Meridian Road as well as Avalon to get to the Greenbelt. That seems pretty typical. Those are very, that's the main route in and out of town. So that just kind of makes sense to me. I don't know about you guys, but definitely makes sense to me. Page 8 indicates hourly visits. Most people, it appears, are coming between the hours of like 2 p.m. and I would say 6 p.m. So why is that important? It can kind of show you when, at what hour most people are going to be viewing this art piece and how the sun may impact this art piece, how the lighting might be. So that's something to take into consideration if you're going to choose a theme tonight. If we're going to choose a theme, consider how the sun and how the light may impact this art piece. Below that is just a daily visits. Most people are visiting the CUNA Greenbelt on Saturday. I know that's kind of random, but it may be important, or you may take that into consideration. Most people on Saturday, most people are not generally working, and if they're working, you can take that into account in regard to demographics. And then finally, the last page, page 9, shows you visit durations. The average stay is 47 minutes. The median stay is 27 minutes. So we're looking, 30 minutes to 50 minute, roughly, give or take, how long people are actually staying on the Greenbelt. And the question is, are people going to actually look at this art piece? Are they going to stay and look, or is it something they're just going to pass by? And that's all I have for you.
Great, that's a great comprehensive overview, and the data from Placer Insight Analytics is eye-opening. Dave, Deb, you have anything to add?
It looks like this is a really nice place for placement for public art. I'm curious too, just in terms of content, what were some of the other project possibilities? And would this necessarily need to always coincide with Parks and Rec, just so that we know moving forward?
So the other possibilities were just other sort of buildings that or like more like sheds that the parks department has, or like that were at like parks and stuff, so like Bernie Fisher Park and things like that. Taking a look around those. So there were a few different, there were more like buildings rather than this box. And because it was smaller, I thought it would be a better choice as a starting point. And then again, like, since there are other locations like sheds and things like that, if this is a project that the commission likes and you want to continue to do that, there are those other locations on a bigger scale, like a side of a building. And I did talk to the Parks and Facilities Department first, because we wanted to start sort of with city buildings. It'd be easier to start with murals like that are, you know, the city owns and things like that. So that's why I went to them first.
Thank you. And you mentioned there are other boxes as well. Do you know?
So I didn't mention any other boxes. This was the only one that I was shown at the time when I went on, you know, scouting for locations. Yeah, this was the only one I saw when I went on that trip. I mean, I'm not saying that there isn't any. I'm just not aware of any at the moment. That's the only one that I saw at the time.
Okay, thank you. And that's sort of thinking out in the future, not necessarily for this one. I was just wondering about the bigger picture. Thank you.
I guess the question I have is, who would be doing the artwork on the box?
Yeah, so I wanted to present this project to you guys because you mentioned, you know, public art projects. So the next step, after if you decide to approve the location and if you want to choose a preferred theme for it, would be for me to put together an information packet about the project itself, which would be that it's a mural, and then put out a call for the artists, you know? So that would be the next steps for it. So we don't know the artist at the moment. It would be a matter of getting that call out to local artists or any artists that may be interested, and then bringing their proposals or what have you to the commission to look through and choose from. That'd be the next steps.
Thank you, Dave. My question would be, does, for the future, to piggyback on Deb Ann's question, if we were to find more boxes, do they have to be on CUNA property?
I can't answer that definitively. I would say we would prefer that because it's just easier to go about that way. That's why we started with property for the city, because, you know, you don't have to go through a private business to get it approved and things like that. It's just easier to continue that way if there are, you know, if there are more boxes. I'm not sure if there are, but.
Thank you. And the reason I ask is because if we do look towards the future, and there were more, right, and we had two or three artists after the call, I think we could, you know, divvy them up or something, right? So I'm just looking at the future state. So, that being said, one last go around. Any other questions?
Yeah, Leah, do you happen to know an approximate cost, like on some of those other boxes in other cities? Do you know what they, kind of the range? I have no sense of that. I know some of them are painted. I know some of them do that shrink thing.
Yeah, so I don't know how much they cost for other cities because a lot of them are wraps themselves, which is not what I'm thinking for this project. I'm thinking this one will be a painted mural that, you know, it has a coat that'll protect it. So I don't know about other cities because we're not doing the same process, so I didn't look into that too much. I know, I mean, I've looked at, not cities here in Idaho, but I've looked at other cities, like I think in Utah and stuff, looking at their call to artists and things like that for murals and stuff. I've seen a couple that run around like $2,000 or something, you know, in that range, and those are the ones I've seen are a little bit bigger, but I know at the last meeting we approved, you know, budget allocation for about $5,000. I don't think that it has to be like the total will be $5,000. I think if, you know, setting it around $2,000 would be enough for the project. I could, you know, I would definitely look into that more for the information packet itself. But yeah, so I don't know how much those are because they're a different process.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. And I don't know that we need to know the specific dollar amount. I'm just
Yeah.
trying to think in terms of as we look at releasing that for a call to artist, what we might be trying to think for those public dollars and the public art pieces within the next year.
Again, to piggyback on the band, I agree. I think that the dollar amount's less important right now, although it is important to keep in mind for public dollars. I want to say that I think the next step is to get a packet together, and I agree. The analytics I've reviewed indicate that it's in a good area and that we have plenty of traffic. So my recommendation would be to ask for motion to get a packet together, pull together to see that, get a call list and a call out to artists is where I'd like to go. Others?
One of our proposals tonight, one of staff's proposals tonight is, does the commission want a specific theme for the proposed mural? And if you want a proposed theme, would you kindly give us a proposed theme or a small list of proposed themes that we can present to artists who are interested?
Yeah, that would go in, sort of like the information packet or the call to artists. If you have a preferred theme, that would be in that sort of brief. Yeah.
And I assume a timeline as well?
Yeah, and a timeline would be put in there. I'll put that all together. I just didn't have that for this one because I wanted to present the project first. But yeah, that'll all be in there. Timeline, a brief,
Okay.
what the project will look like, which is, this box and what have you. Yeah.
Okay.
So to start that list, I would like to add one that's a wildfowl, birds of prey type of theme as one option.
Yeah, and then we can include these as a preferred theme too. So like, these are themes that the commission would sort of, have a preference for, but other artists will be considered as well that don't fit it. But yeah, so I mean,
Sure,
yeah.
I mean, so what I heard was you'd like a
Yeah.
list. So my first item, it doesn't have to be,
Okay.
we can vote on it.
Yeah.
One would be, raptors, and then the second one would be wildlife.
Okay.
So something to the, let's say it was a peregrine, a burrowing owl, and a ground squirrel, or whatever the artist selects, but there's four sides to that, something like that. So that's my thought. Others?
If we could get a motion tonight, that would be, I think that would be preferred on staff's part, just to get a specific list via a motion, just for the commission's.
So
Yeah.
we would need to suggest all of our ideas and then create that list and then take action with the motion.
Correct.
Thank you. Yeah, I think wildlife was the first one. I would like to see if there's a way that we can say sort of that, the eternal nature that you see on the greenbelt, that there are four sides. I mean, the seasons on the greenbelt are incredible. There might be something that someone can do with just the nature that we see in the city on the greenbelt.
Okay, so like nature, like seasonal nature, or
I would sort of envision seasonal and maybe
Okay.
typifying some of the nature that you do see on the
while walking.
greenbelt.
Okay.
Well, my idea would be to have a history theme. One would be birds of prey. And beyond that, I also would like to ask if we would have any description of what a person is seeing or if that's feasible, or just the artwork itself and no description of what it is. Is that possible, or?
We can certainly check with Parks and Recreation to see if something like that, like a description of the art piece, is possible to install or be put near the or on the art piece. I would not have a solid answer for you yet without having spoken with the Parks and Recreation director, and if they're okay with that.
I was thinking about also things like what brought CUNA to be, basically, and one is irrigation. And so, you know, the New York Canal and Indian Creek, artist depiction of Indian Creek or something like that, with a description of that. And another would be birds of prey, as we already have mentioned. I think something, the birds of prey should go on top of this box. And then on the other sides, something like Initial Point, which is a very important feature of this area. And beyond that, it's right along the railroad track. How about a picture of a railroad station with a train passing by it? And so those are some of the ideas that I have. And, some of them may need an explanation, like Initial Point. I mean, what's just this little hill in the picture, and maybe there should be some indication of why it's important. Anyway, those are some of the ideas that I had for the box and the artwork that could be put on it. That's all I have for now.
I think in this motion, there should also be an area for two items I'm thinking outside the box here. One would be abstract, because abstract allows the individual viewer, as with all art, to allow them to view what it is, to be explained or written to tell you what it is. Kind of misses the point of art in my eyes as an artist. The other one would be, so that one would be art abstract, and the other would incorporate the geographical highlights. I think I'm rephrasing what Dave said. The geographical highlights. So you do have an Initial Point. You've got different areas. I think that's a good one. And the last one would be all-encompassing, all other, because I really don't want to negate a good artist that does, like Ward Hooper, right? There's a guy that does some great work, which is very I'm looking for a word, but it's very pastel-y and not real detailed, and it's beautiful art. So I want to add all other, because you don't know what you don't know when an artist comes to the drawing board. So I think we have a decent list for a motion.
Yeah, I think the only thing I would suggest is maybe making it a more concise list. There's a lot of ideas, and I feel if we present too many ideas to artists, it could be, that would be a little bit more confusing than if there was a more concise list. That's just my thoughts, but I don't know what the commission thinks.
To me, that leave it open. We can see what comes in. So we got two sides, right? So you got a list, and then you don't want it too big to be confusing. But then somebody looks at it and goes, "Oh, I can't fit that." So then let's leave it wide open.
Yeah, I mean, that's also an option. There doesn't have to be a preferred theme. I mean, if the commission prefers to just leave it wide open with no preferences for any theme, that's also an option. It was just, I wanted to put this here in case you did have any things that you wanted to have a preference for.
Okay, so
But it's not necessary.
all right, but that was a disconnect for me. I thought you needed a list.
No, I mean, it's an option.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not, you don't have to. I don't think so. If you want to leave it wide open, leave the brief open, I think that's
Okay.
good too.
Garrett, your thoughts?
I am open, I think the city is open to whatever the commission wants.
Okay.
I'm hearing, we have, it sounds like Birds of Prey, a lot of CUNA themes going on, as well as seasons, which CUNA is renowned for, especially near the creek. You can just see those great seasonal changes. But I am definitely, if you guys are more open to
So I
abstract or.
think, great, that's awesome feedback. I think in the call to artists, agree or disagree for the rest, is it would sound something like this. The mural, the preferred mural could include geographical locations, wildlife, historical themes, abstract, and the commission is open to all other presentations, right? So that gives them a quick feed, and then it opens up the door to hey, we don't know what it could be. Does that help?
You need a motion, correct?
I would need, we need a very specific motion, so that the terminology could be like, I move to, and then, kind of repeating what you just said. Or I move that.
I move that we make a recommendation from the Art Commission. Oh, go ahead. I move that we make a motion for the Art Commission to have a list for the artist call that includes, but not to be limited to, buildings and, no, that's the wrong one. Designs to include wildfowl, birds of prey, possibly, nature, history of the area, which geographic highlights, abstract, and all other considerations will be viewed. We can clean that up. It's off the cuff. A little different, you can help it.
Okay, I'll second.
And all those in favor?
All those in favor say aye.
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 Do you also need a recommendation for a maximum amount and for an ending timeline?
I think it would be, because I have to put together that packet still, and then like, once that packet is put together, then I think we can have a solid timeline, because if we have the packet already and we send it out, then we can know this is how much time we want to have it out for, this is how much time we'll consider, or the commission will consider applications or look over those, this is when they'll do, look over them, sorry. I think, yeah, if you want to try and set a time that we have the mural done, we can take that into consideration and try and have it done by then.
I would encourage
Okay.
at least the completion be a goal at this point, so that we make certain that we allow for the time for the packets, the time for the artist to create, be considerate of weather, understand that we have certain parameters that we have to pay attention to in terms of paying for the project. So that's why I'm asking about doing like the final drop dead date to be at least initially we set that.
I agree, 100%. So, when's the next meeting, so that we could at least, get that? I don't think we should sit on it, is where I'm going
Yeah.
with this, because, the number one thing is painting in the rain or good weather. Our optimum time to paint outside in this area, per the AI, temperature-wise, rain-wise, humidity-wise, is probably June, July. It gets too hot in August, and then they're gonna have to start painting late night, early morning, September, October. And then the adhesion and base prep and all of that stuff for the box on metal. So I think we should get a packet together before the next meeting.
Yeah, so the next meeting is set for July 10th. I think that's too late. I mean, we can set meetings before. That's not out of question. We did that last year. I would just have to, properly notify properly notify those meetings, but it doesn't have to be in July, like you're saying. We do have to consider when they would be painting. So we can set a meeting before then. I would just have to, again, follow the proper procedures for notification of that meeting. But, yeah.
So, I mean, as I see the timeline, that already puts us out there. Then we get the call, we give them 2 months or a month and a half for a call. That's another 45 days, and then we have to look at it. It's gotta happen quicker than that, is where I'm going with this. So Deb Ann's got a great point, and I think we need to streamline that time frame. So you have our contact. I think if we can get one, if you can get a packet together, and we can put out end of May, June, if that's something that can be done.
Yeah, I mean, I can work on it. We do have openings at the end of this month, so I'm a little bit preoccupied with the new exhibits that are opening at the 23rd. But I know I can dedicate time, like throughout May to finish it. So maybe if I try and finish it end of May, have a meeting, and then you guys look at that packet, look at the call to artists, we put it out. It goes out for, I don't know how long you guys want to have it out, a month, a few weeks.
Okay, so let's
You
do
know
that.
what I mean?
I make a motion that is our next path. So,
Do we want to shoot for July? My apologies, June 1st. Is that?
Yeah, we can shoot for the next meeting being around June if you'd like.
June 1st. Does June 1st work for the commission?
shoot the first week, shoot for the first week of June.
First week of
Set
June.
that as a date and have a packet for that.
Okay. Oh yeah. Okay, we can definitely first week of June.
All those in favor?
Do we need to make a motion for that?
It is preferable to make a motion. Just
I did. I'm getting there, ain't I? I made a motion and we get the packet and set the first week of June as a commission date. All those in favor?
I'll
I'll get a
second the
second.
motion.
Oh, I screwed that part up. Second motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
So then I would anticipate we would have a number of weeks that would be open. Then we would meet, then we would make a determination. And then would we have a final box done by date?
Yeah, that's how it
Box
would.
done by date. I like that.
Yeah, that's how it would roll out, really.
So that could conceivably be done by fall or no?
I think so. If we continue on that timeline, if we get I get the information packet out, few weeks for that. That would go through June, for the beginning of July, to have a call out, consider them for a few weeks, couple weeks, have a meeting about that, and then have set an end date, and then do that. So it would look like probably by fall. Could be an end date, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I was looking for the analytics on which days they, oh, there was, it was right in the beginning. It was, here it is, April, May, June. We're at the low, right at October. See, we're approving it right at the peak. Just a thought. So we took care of that. Next order of business after is our reports. Report on PAPI Annual Spring Show 2025. Leah?
Yeah, so that's the Poppy Annual Spring Show, the Plein Air Painters of Idaho Annual Spring Show. That's opening April 23rd. That's the next show coming out. I included in the packet the 4 flyers I created that will be posted weekly until the opening or to the reception. Those are also the flyers that are going to be posted around town for the new opening. Their opening reception, they're planning on having an opening reception at Paint Out on May 3rd from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. That's included on the schedule events for Hometown Fair that's also occurring that weekend. I ordered banners and yard signs for the event. I'm picking those up tomorrow, and those will go up sometime next week for advertising. We have 18 artists in the show with about 44 artworks. Each flyer has the names of the artists that are included on there. But yeah, I wanted to let you know what was going on with that at the end of the month and what's happening for that next exhibit. No, this is just a report. Yep, a report to y'all what's going on.
Very nice, thank you.
I look forward to it. Second report under section 4, part B, participation, the Art Attack ideas and other events.
Yeah, so I put this on here because I wanted y'all to start really thinking about Art Attack. That happens in September. I think it's occurring September 13th this year. That day. I also put it on here because I recently spoke to the city's event coordinator, like who plans events, and she was saying how she is sort of looking to make the Art Attack event more child focused. That doesn't mean just little kids, but like teenagers and stuff, having more things that incorporate them. Just a second. That mean it's not solely for children, but incorporating more events for children. Meaning, if the commission wanted to sponsor sort of a sidewalk chalk competition, or maybe doing like a pop-up gallery with people showing art pieces there or something, but just wanted to put this on here to get you guys thinking about ideas for that event, so we're not coming up on September and the commission's not have any sort of things planned for an art-focused event. So that's why that's on here. Wanting to get you guys thinking about that, seeing if you had any initial ideas. It's okay if you don't. I just wanted to get that ball rolling already.
Hold on, I wanted to just throw out a couple of ideas possible for participation. I love the idea of the chalk art on the sidewalk, a contest for, it could be kids, it could be all ages. I would love for us to have a call out for performance art. So it could be singing, it could be dancing, it could be theater, and it could be that we do in that call out say it's going to be sort of young people focused. Not sure how to word that, but that could be a possibility. I also think it might be kind of cool to have a talent contest that showcases arts. So those are 3 things that I would anticipate would be kind of helpful to have, and also be something that the Arts Commission could support.
Yeah, those are great. I'll take those, and again, like as it draws closer, as the planning really starts to pick up, I can meet with event coordinator and see what is possible. Like if we can do those performances, and we can do an art contest, see what's possible. But it's good to take the ideas and bring them to the event coordinator and see what's possible on the day of. So yeah,
that'd be great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
that's great.
Moving on to part C, updates for the CUNA Arts and History Committee.
Yeah, not too many updates there. CUNA Arts and History Center. Not too many updates there. We have finally received lettering for the outside of the building, so that's going to go up in the next couple of weeks. So it'll say CUNA Arts and History Center on the building. We're also on the week of the 21st of April, we're starting our summer hours. again, transitioning from our winter hours. So those will be Wednesday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So those are really the big updates. Already informed you about the exhibit that's opening at the end of this month, but just wanted to, notify you guys of those happenings at the center.
Excellent. Thank you. Next agenda item, setting items for the next agenda. So, we have, a date, and we have a motion, anything, anyone else would like to add?
So is this the regularly scheduled meeting, or would that be for the June 1st meeting?
The regularly scheduled meeting would be this meeting. The quote-unquote special meeting would be the June meeting, assuming everything, the June meeting would be the special meeting.
Thank you. So I presume that we would want to make certain that we are looking at the updates on the public art project and probably making some close decisions on the participation for Art Attack.
Yeah.
Anything else that we would need to be thinking about for the end of the year that we should be discussing at that time?
None that I can think about the moment. I mean, yeah, none that I can think about the moment. Art Attack happens in September. There are not too many events after Art Attack. Yeah, so none that I can think of right now, but not to say that there aren't. But yeah, I can't think of anything other right now.
Thank you.
I have nothing. Dave, anything for you?
No, I have nothing.
Thank you. That takes us to the end here. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved?
All those in favor?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Meeting adjourned.